Hi, it's Monday, and that means it's Jazz on Waxing On. And today we're going to look at a couple of musicians that played closely together, but also did some solo work. And that is Gerry Mulligan and Chet Baker. This also ties into the series we've been doing on Creed Taylor's recordings. And the first one was one that was done at Carnegie Hall called Gerry Mulligan, Chet Baker, Carnegie Hall Concert, Volume 1. Now, there is more than one volume, obviously, but this one was one that they had recorded on Creed Taylor records, produced by Creed Taylor, and also using a number of Creed Taylor's roster players. We have Bob James, Ron Carter, John Schofield, and Harvey Mason backing up the band. The recording was actually done as three different segments. We had Chet Baker doing a section of his own, we had Gerry Mulligan doing a section of his own, and then the guys playing together. The songs featured on Volume 1 were Line for Lions, one of the traditional ones that they've been playing for years, Song for an Unfinished Woman, My Funny Valentine, which is really a signature song for Chet Baker, and Song for Strayhorn. Now, looking back on this one being I think this was maybe mid-70s where they recorded this, 1974. Back when they first started out, they were doing West Coast jazz, or what some used to call the pipe and slipper jazz. Very relaxed, very different from the bebop that was going on in New York, but very similar to what they were doing with Miles Davis Quintet in Birth of the Cool. Gerry Mulligan had also been involved with that group and contributed some songs and arrangements for them. One of the early albums, and this one kind of compiles a lot of material from them, Gerry Mulligan, Chet Baker, and it is the best of the Gerry Mulligan Quartet with Chet Baker. And to give you an idea of some of the songs they were doing at that time, we've got Bernie's Tune, Night at the Turntable by Gerry Mulligan, Freeway by Chet Baker, Soft Shoe by Gerry Mulligan, Walking Shoes by Gerry Mulligan, and Nights at the Turntable and Walking Shoes, they were getting to be pretty standard for Mulligan's group. Swing House by Gerry Mulligan, J-Roo, which we'll talk about again in a few minutes, another Gerry Mulligan one, and it was also included on Birth of the Cool. Darn That Dream, again, that was on Birth of the Cool with a vocal. Beginning to See the Light, My Funny Valentine, again, such a signature tune for Chet Baker, it was often included, and A Festive Minor by Gerry Mulligan. So to listen to the early Mulligan-Baker work, this is a good place to start. It's back in the mid-50s. We're looking at very similar time frame as Birth of the Cool. Now, both of them went on to have an extensive recording career, and there were a couple of albums that I found were fun. And these were ones that they recorded for A&M Records. And this would have been, I'm going to say, just getting into the 80s. 1977 for this one, so the end of the 70s, early 80s. Chet Baker's album, You Can't Go Home Again. Now, in this one, they tried to, I guess, modernize or jazz up some of what Chet Baker was doing. Bernie Zabensky was arranging and did some of the compositions. The songs here, Cole Porter's Love for Sale, Bud Powell's Poco Loco, You Can't Go Home Again by Sebesky, and El Moro by Sebesky. Now, he had a good backup band on this one. I mean, this is really kind of an all-star album. Firstly, they tried to jazz things up a bit. Love for Sale, especially on the Cole Porter version, tried to funk it up a little bit, but really when Chet starts playing, it's Chet Baker. He's still playing in that same style, with that same emotion, and it didn't matter what the context was, it always came through as him. Now let's take a look. Sidemen on this one. We got Michael Brecker, tenor sax, John Schofield, Ron Carter on acoustic, Alfonso Johnson on electric bass, Tony Williams on drums. So a couple of Miles Davis sidemen in here. We add Hubert Laws on flute for Poco Loco. Don Sebesky joins on electric piano for You Can't Go Home Again. And I don't know if any of you listen to this album or know that song. For some reason, You Can't Go Home Again sounds really familiar to me, but I can't place where. Reminds me of another song. Anybody knows, just drop a line, make a comment, give me some idea. But it does sound awful familiar, and I can't think I know the song You Can't Go Home Again. So I'm thinking it's somewhere else that I'm cluing into some of the the chords or some of the notes. And pretty much the same group, Ralph McDonald added for percussion on El Moro. And a great Chet Baker album on A&M. Now, around the same time, Gerry Mulligan put out another one that was one of my favorites, and I don't have it on vinyl, but I do have it on CD, and this is Gerry Mulligan's Age of Steam. And on here, who we got, let's take a look. Gerry Mulligan Holmes, we got Tom Scott joining in on tenor and soprano saxophone, alto saxophone. Bob Brookmeyer on valve trombone, and Harry Sweets Edison on trumpet. So he's got a nice horn line backing him up on here. And again, pretty much all Mulligan tunes. Nothing in there that really stands out as what I would call a hit, but a very good album to listen to, and one that I really enjoyed of Gerry Mulligan. Now, Mulligan, as well as putting his own albums out, had been a guest on a couple of others. And this one's called Big Band Parade. Get that without the glare. And I'll just show you the photo on the back. I don't know how well you can see everybody that's on here. And we've got Cab Calloway, we've got Dave Brubeck, Doc Severinsen, Eddie Daniels, Ed Shaughnessy. I'm going to say that's Ray Brown back there. Yeah, Ray Brown. An all-star group getting together to play big band music. And just to give you some idea of what they were playing on this one, we've got Take the A-Train, Begin the Beguine, 1 O'Clock Jump, Caravan, Let's Dance, Woodchopper's Ball, In the Mood, Sing, 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 and the list goes on. It's just standard big band tunes, but some great performers that don't often play together. And again, Gerry Mulligan in there sharing the limelight. Nice one on here for a little change-up. Cab Calloway, instead of doing Minnie the Moocher, does a great version of St. James Infirmary. Now, one last one for Mulligan, and this is one he did in conjunction with Mel Torme and George Shearing. It's called The Classic Concert Live, and it's Gerry Mulligan leads the big band and also performs on here. Basically, it's a lot of songs that Mel's singing, of course. And what I really found significant on here, and it was fun, was J-Roo, which we mentioned on the Chet Baker Mulligan album and on Bertha Cool, actually had words to it. And there's a vocal version of J-Roo on here, which is kind of fun. Same way with, I'm going to say it was Walking Shoes. Yep, Walking Shoes on here. So a lot of Mulligan tunes, a lot of other big band great tunes, and a great chance to hear Mel Torme with this group. I mean, this was really an all-star an album with Torme, Shearing, and Mulligan together. So while it's not technically a Gerry Mulligan album, he's certainly put his stamp on it. He's leading the band. He's doing a lot of the writing and a lot of the playing. Okay, that's it for this week. Gerry Mulligan, Chet Baker. Two excellent players. I'd had a chance to see Chet Baker. It was in the early 80s, and it was just a great opportunity to see what he does live. I mean, his playing was always exceptional. Chet had issues, but the music always came through. Okay, that's it for Monday. We'll see you on Wednesday when we'll be looking at classic rock. Everybody stay home, stay safe. Have a good week.